So far, we've talked about the three basic primary geometric shapes, the circle, the square, and the triangle. And we talked a little bit about inscribed and circumscribed figures. Now I want to talk a little bit more about the relationship between the circle and the triangle and the square, and how you can use the square to find the center of the circle and to find the center of the base on the triangle. I'm going to draw a square real quick freehand. And I'm eyeballing the distance, right? So I'm going to choose a width. And then I will compare that width using my pencil as a gauge and find the unit of measure by lining my pencil tip at one edge at one point and my thumb at the other point. And I'll come down here. And just double check my lengths. So the first step is to line a straight edge along the diagonals and create a stitch mark in the middle. This is the exact middle of your square. The second step is to measure the distance from the center of the square to the edge. I like to use a piece of paper because it's very easy to mark off that distance. And then mark the distance at the top edge and also at the bottom edge. And that gives you 3 points of intersection. So when you line your ruler up to those 3 points, you will have a vertical line that is perpendicular to the bottom and perpendicular to the top. You do the same thing on the other side. So now you've bisected your square. That's the second step. The third step, we don't have a compass, we're doing this freehand, so we're going to use our pencil again as a gauge to measure the unit of measure from the center to the edge. And I'm going to use my hand as a compass, rotate my hand, and mark off the radius in each of these diagonal areas. That gives you 8 points to connect your circle. Okay, so you don't want to drag your arc along the edge of the square. You just want to use it as a point. So you're connecting the dots here. This is how you inscribe a circle within a square freehand. Now let's inscribe a triangle within a square. I've already gone through the first few steps, and we know that a triangle is just going to be connecting, finding the center of the bottom, the base, right? And so we know that the center of the base and the center of the top bisect the square, and then we just connect the center of the top with the 2 bottom edges. Okay. This is how you find a triangle. However, this triangle is not equilateral because all three sides are not equal. So let's make sure we have the center. If we want it to be an equilateral triangle, we can use the same method as we did when we were inscribing a circle. We can just take the smallest side and mark off at the axis the point that represents the distance of the bottom edge. So if you're looking for an equilateral triangle, you need to make sure all three sides are equal. So let's just double check ourselves. Okay, that is an equilateral triangle. Let's explore this equilateral triangle a little bit further. We don't know where the center is right now. So in order to find the center, there's a couple of different methodologies that you could use with a compass, but we're not using a compass. So the best way to do it is to draw a circle by hand. If your circle is as perfect as possible, the tangent of the circle to the sides of the triangle are more or less where the center is going to be. You can double check that by using a piece of paper and comparing distances. So I'm going to compare the distance of the tangent of the circle to the edge. Looks good. Looks good. So now, if I draw a line from each edge of the triangle to the corners, this will be the center of your equilateral triangle. And you can inscribe a circle within your triangle, your equilateral triangle, by knowing where the center of the triangle is.